Thanks for tuning in to this week's message from Salt House. My name's Mark. I'm a member here, and I volunteer in the nursery and help with the finances. Everything we do here at Salt House and beyond depends on the financial support and generosity of our community. Folks like you who show up or tune in each week and receive great benefit from the good and sacred things happening here. So if you love what Salt House is up to, and you're able this season, I want to encourage you to contribute by donating. Go to salthousechurch.org/giving to learn more. And thank you for being such a faithful community.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Sean, and I'm part of the community here at Salt House. And just when you thought you had learned enough Hebrew words, you're going to learn another one today. This word is midrash. Midrash. Now, midrash is a Jewish tradition of looking beyond a biblical text to find meaning. And it's not just one thing, right? It's not just, well, I'm going to interpret a text, right? It goes beyond that even. It's asking questions of the text, exploring a text, investigating a Bible story that you might know and you might not know to find new wisdom, new ideas, find what it's saying to you right now. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not really something that was in my upbringing as a Christian. Growing up when I did in the 90s and early aughts, it seemed like so much emphasis was on the text itself, and going beyond the text was not something that we did. But it turns out that Christians have been doing that for centuries through practices like Lectio Divina, which we've done here at Salt House, and you can do here as one of the groups coming forward. But today we're going to try a midrash called, can I please say that again? Great. Today we're going to try a midrash called Biblio-Drama. This was invented or created by a Jewish person named Peter Petzel. It's a pretty recent midrash tradition, came about in the last 30 or 40 years. And it is still, though, used in Christian circles. Peter has done this with groups of people from a variety of faiths as a way, again, of inserting yourself into a story. That's where the term Biblio-Drama means. You're going to insert yourself into a story. Now, when we say Biblio-Drama, it does not mean that you have to be dramatic like Galinda. Toss your hair. This is something you can do from the comfort of your seat and inside the quiet, or loud, if you're like me, loudness of your imagination. So what we're going to do is imagine the story of Epiphany in your own way. And so we're going to go through the text once or twice, and I'm going to invite you to pick a character in this text and just try to see the story through their perspective. There's a couple of steps to this. First, I just want to give some context in case you're not familiar with the story of Epiphany or if you just need a quick refresher. So Epiphany is the time in the story of Jesus when sages, wise men, kings, scholars, a couple different names for them depending on which version of the Bible you're reading, come from the east, which is a very vague place. It's east of Jerusalem. And they gather, they follow a star, and come to Bethlehem to find the baby Jesus and give him offerings and praise. A little bit of context beyond that. This is a time when the kingdom of Israel is under the rule of the Roman Empire. So there is a king in Israel, King Herod, at this time, but he really has somewhat limited power. What he does, he has some control over his people there in the kingdom of Israel, but ultimately the power comes from even above him, from the Roman governor and the Roman Empire. At the same time, though, there are a lot of prophecies, right? This is the ancient Hebrews had a lot of prophecies about a savior, somebody who's going to come and redeem them and have them cast off the shackles, just like Moses went into Egypt and pulled the ancient Israelites out of bondage. There's going to be a new savior who's going to come. And there's, again, all these ideas and prophecies about how this savior is going to come. So every couple months, every couple years, there's another one of these people who kind of pops up and causes some trouble for whoever is in charge at the time. So that's all the context I'm going to give you, because this is not a sermon where I give you interpretation or anything like that. This is an opportunity for us individually and as a group to explore this story on a deeper and more individual level. So in just a moment, I'm going to read a section of the text. This is in Matthew chapter 2. And what I want you to listen for is who is here? Who is here? As I read the text, who is present, whether they are named in the story or not. If there are people in a place, there might be other people who don't necessarily come up in the text. So think about that too. Who is here? All right, with that in mind, here we go. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory, this was during Herod's kingship, a band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east. They asked around, "Where can we find and pay homage to the newborn King of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him." When word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified, and not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religion scholars in the city together and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" They told him, "Bethlehem, Judah territory." The prophet Micah wrote it plainly. "It is you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd, rule my people, my Israel." Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east. Pretending to be as devout as they were, he got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Then he told them the prophecy about Bethlehem and said, "Go, find this child. Leave no stone unturned. As soon as you find him, send word, and I will join you at once in your worship." So, who is here? I can invite you, if you want to, shout out. Who's a character who might be present in this story? Okay, Herod. I heard quietly someone from over there say Jesus. All right, Herod. Jesus, excellent. A woman on the street passing by or being asked. Yep. So a woman on the street being asked.
The wise people.
Okay, the wise folks.
The little kid in the corner watching the wise people walk by.
Okay, a little kid watching this all unfold.
All Jerusalem afraid of Herod's fear.
All of Jerusalem, all the people who are afraid when the king gets afraid.
The high priests that Herod consulted.
High priests that Herod consulted.
All the moms of 2-year-olds.
The moms of 2-year-olds. Yeah, someone who isn't even necessarily alive at the time. Interesting. The prophet Micah in this case. Jesus. Over. A nerdy priest. The guy who's like, my time, finally. The one who's like great at trivia and just like all that esoteric knowledge. Yeah. I heard a voice from over here. One more time. The Roman guards, okay. The Roman guards. One or two more. I heard animals. Okay. Animals around there. Herod's advisors. I like to imagine there's a court jester too. Why not? Imagine being Herod's jester. Did you have one to throw in?
The laws that rule.
The laws themselves. Okay. So I'm just going to read this list back to you. And as I read it back, I want you to pick a character. Or you can add another character that wasn't listed, okay? Pick a character that when I reread the text in a minute, you're going to look at the text through their eyes. And I can't emphasize enough that this is not an exercise about getting anything right. This is an exercise about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Doesn't matter if they're the good guy of the story or the bad guy of the story. Put yourself in their shoes and investigate the story. So here's the list of people that y'all came up with. We have Herod, Jesus, a woman on the street chatting with the wise folks themselves, a little kid watching all this unfold, the people of Jerusalem who are afraid because their king is afraid, the high priests, we have the prophet himself, we have the nerdy priest who is waiting for this chance to speak up, we have the Roman guards, we have mothers of 2-year-olds, we have the animals who might be present, we have Herod's advisors, the court jester, and of course, the law itself. Do you have a character in mind? Hold on to that character. You can close your eyes if you want. Try to see what they're going to see. Try to feel what they might be feeling. How will they react to the story as it unfolds? After Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory, this was during Herod's kingship, a band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east. They asked around, "Where can we find and pay homage to the newborn king of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him." When word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified, and not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religion scholars in the city together and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" They told him, "Bethlehem, Judah territory." The prophet Micah wrote plainly, "It's you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will rule my people." Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east, pretending to be as devout as they were. He got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Then he told them the prophecy about Bethlehem and said, "Go find this child. Leave no stone unturned. As soon as you find him, send word, and I'll join you at once in your worship." In your imagination, what did you see? What did you feel? Fear. From Herod.
From the wise folks, just like this sense of everyone tuning into their foreignness.
People being aware of the foreigner in their midst as the foreigner themselves. Yeah. I'm going to invite you to take a moment and turn to somebody next to you. It can be someone you came with, that's okay. And this is entirely challenge by choice. I'm going to invite you to share what character you picked and maybe one or two detail that you observed. And if you don't want to do that, just turn to the person next to you and stare at them vacantly for the next minute. So off we go. So turn to somebody near you and share some of what came up for you here. All right, biblio-dramatists. You have the chance now to continue sharing out loud, and because we do have folks who might be watching online, I'm going to ask that you share into the microphone. So if you want, raise your hand and share a character that you picked and something that you noticed in this story. Ryan, what character did you pick?
I picked that nerd because I probably am that nerd. And just like, I was just kind of feeling the, I don't know, like they're scanning the scriptures and like trying to read the signs and like figure out like the things of the day that are happening and like where does it line up and does it and like, you know, all that stuff.
Now, nerdy priest, curiosity I have.
Oh no.
Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because the king tells you to, or do you feel some sort of religious sense of duty, or what's going on
there's
for
like
you here?
an excitement, like, oh my gosh, this is my time. Like my gifts are like needed at this moment by Yahweh. Oh, wow, this is exciting. I know. That was the feeling I had.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else like to share? Right over here.
As a mother of a 2-year-old, I was thinking about how the moms probably were starting to whisper and wonder if there was like kind of a mutiny starting to happen, like Braveheart style, where there's groups of people banding together and going to rise up, and what that would mean for fathers and boys and subsequently their families, since that was kind of common in the time.
What feelings do you have about that? Is it scary? Is it exciting?
Nervousness and fear, but also wondering if it was going to come to anything, since so many rumors probably had happened even before,
Right,
So
you've heard this kind of thing before.
Wondering as it's going into it.
Yeah. What is the future for your children? What is the future for you as a mother? I saw a hand over here.
I picked an astronomer,
Okay.
and so I was seeing the star, and I was wondering why all the people were thinking it was really different. And I also was a scholar, so I could sit in and listen to Herod's side, but also listen to the other people's views. And
Interesting. So you played a star. Do you notice anything unique about this star, or is it just another star to you?
no, it was a bright star, but
Okay.
stars appeared different at different times.
Okay.
So
Back there, yeah.
So I picked the wise men, and I think probably the thing that stood out the most was it was just sort of this feeling of like celebration and excitement, but then at the very end, this like abrupt feeling of unease when Herod's talking. And I was describing it like it was some sort of like Disney villain, kind of. I feel like he's like tapping his like fingers together, like sneering a little. And I was just like, I feel like they must have gotten some feeling that something was wrong there. Yeah.
Yes, as soon as you find him, please tell me where he is. I mean him no harm. I have just a follow-up question of curiosity there. So the text tells us this was a secret place, a secret meeting. Do you think that, like, where was this? Like, was this in a big palace room? Was this in a back alley of Jerusalem? Like, what do you imagine this being?
This might just be me having read too many like fantasy novels, but I always think of like the catacombs and tunnels under a city and stuff. But I don't know if that's actually historically accurate.
We're not worried about that right now. Yeah. Did someone else imagine this in a different place or in the same place? What did it look like over here? Yeah. We got a couple, so we'll go back and forth.
I picked the Jerusalem, people of Jerusalem, and I imagined myself as a Roman citizen, a woman who, like, in the market, maybe who owns like a business, and so like seeing the scholars like bustle into the city, everyone talking, and then them asking questions and kind of like curiosity and fear around that, but then like also like as they move on, then like seeing guards move in and like the priests move, right? Like just seeing everyone kind of like to the palace, and definitely a sense of like unease and like no control over the situation, just kind of standing by and wondering what's going to happen to me. So
A citizen of a nation wondering what the heck is going to happen when their leaders step in. Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of, a little bit similarly, but I was imagining that I was kind of like hosting the wise men in my home.
Okay.
And that the secret meeting was kind of upstairs, and what in the world was Herod doing at my house?
Oh.
So
Yeah, what was Herod doing at your house? What did you imagine? What would you feel like to have the king knock at your
I was a little
door?
bit worried that something really bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
This was not a good sign that Herod was out of the palace.
Were there guards like guarding your staircase so that you couldn't even go up?
Yeah, but it was also like, it was like they were being really sneaky about it. So you could tell they were guards, but they were not in guards' outfits. So it was like,
Okay.
it was very shady.
Incognito.
It was very shady.
Yeah. So we have a couple different places. Someone imagines it in the catacombs, someone in the upstairs of a host. Over here in the back. Out of curiosity, did anyone pick Herod? Okay. It's okay. It's good. I would love to hear from you if you're willing. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that I don't think Herod would leave his palace. I think he just like maybe smuggle them in like the back entrance, but I think he's like set on like having like a throne, like someone to look up to him, like having like all the proof of his reign, like, you know, the gold and ornaments and like I am better than you sense, and like that wouldn't really I think he'd think it was kind of beneath him to like sneak under into the town and like hide in someone's house. No offense.
No, it's okay. This is all about what you see, so don't worry about it. If someone who played Herod, do you mind sharing just what you reacted to? I see a hand right here in the back.
I guess I chose Herod's like advisors or whatever with him, and I just imagined them like thinking, oh my gosh, I better make them believe that this is what we do. If we don't, he's going to kill us. And did we give them enough so that way they'll believe us?
What a just environment of fear around this. Unstable way to live, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking Herod as well, probably just because you said you can pick anyone good or bad. So I'm like, I should pick the bad guy.
Do it, yeah.
And I was trying to think of like, I feel like old movies and books are like sometimes the bad person, oh, they're just bad. And new ones like, oh, here's all these reasons why they did this thing. And I was trying to put my perspective of like, this person's still doing something inexcusable. There's not an excuse for what they're doing, but what were they thinking? And trying to identify with that fear, think the things in my life that would make me scared enough to do something bad was kind of where my thoughts were going around it, and trying to get that perspective thought through.
With Herod, did you feel like a sense of power slipping away from you or something else? Yeah. That's what comes to mind for me. It's a king with minimal power, and here's a threat to that minimal power. Yeah, over here.
I kind of imagine the moms of little kids being annoyed that people keep asking if their child is Jesus.
No, it's not Jesus.
It's not Jesus. My kid is Jimmy.
Yeah. But I'll take that gold you brought. All right, one more. Over here. Did you still want to share? And we'll wrap up. Great. Over here. Yeah.
I feel like the three wise men got called on a quest when they saw that star, and they followed this star blindly. And then, as Joseph Campbell puts it, you got to get lost to find your way. And that's going back to that opening question. And I feel like when they ended up with Herod, that was like a detour. They kind of strayed off the path of the star, but then they ended up finding their way to Bethlehem through that detour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess I have one more question. If anyone played one of the wise folks, or if you just want to answer, why? Why follow the star? Why does, you're not hopping on a plane, you're walking all the way across the desert out after this star to find somebody who's a king of a culture that you have nothing to do with. What was it about this star that really pulled you in that direction? The stars and the time were very important. Yeah, something significant in the sky that popped up.
Maybe hope that there was something new starting that was better than what they had at the time.
A hope of something new starting. One more over here.
I sort of got this feeling of wanting to be part of, like knowing that something important was happening and wanting to be part of that and wanting to be part of like the history forming.
Something important is happening. There's history forming, and I want to be part of it. Excellent. All right, I'm gonna invite you now to just take a second and take a breath, wriggle it out, get yourself out of that character, come back to yourself here. And we'll wrap up with just a chance for you to share one last time here. What was this like? What was it like to explore this story in a different way? Does anyone have something that they want to share about what this was like for them? What was this like for you, Ryan? You've been excited about this for a while. Are you on mic?
How many voices do you think we just heard?
Oh, quite a few. Yeah.
I love that.
I loved when people contradicted each other, too. I think that was cool. I liked all the different settings. This is ultimately what, when we see, like, we watched Prince of Egypt with the high schoolers recently. I mean, it's just a Biblio-Drama that someone made a lot of money doing. Over here.
I like seeing people's faces light up as they shared kind of what their imagination was.
You like seeing people's faces light up as they shared what was going on in their imagination. Yeah, me too. I have a great view up here.
It's helpful to hear how perspectives were of that time maybe are not so different than our perspectives now.
Yeah, it was useful to see how some perspectives really just are the same through the years. Similar concerns, like you mentioned, what is the future going to be for my child? Yeah, over here.
It was nice to be able to put myself in the story because I feel like usually if I'm reading through this, I feel like I'm outside of it. Like this was so long ago, it must not be a reflection of what's going on right now. And so being able to like literally jump into a character and be a part of this experience made it come to life so much more.
It was nice to feel part of a story that often feels so distant. That's one reason I like doing this with very familiar stories, because we just get to see it in a different way. Yeah, last one over here. We'll wrap up over here.
I just kind of going along with that. It just makes it more real. Like I feel like it's easy to forget that the Bible is just like stories. Like it's not just stories. It's like real people and real events, and there are way more. Like I like that we're like discussing all of the different people that weren't necessarily mentioned, because it's like it's our world. Like it's a whole world full of people that were there when this is happening, just like us. We're here now anyway. Like
Yeah.
it made it real.
It made it real because you were invested. You were seeing these characters as real people. Awesome. Well, as the band comes back up, I'm just going to briefly tell you that this is a very adapted version of Biblio-Drama, designed for a group like this. Normally, we would do it with a group of 5 to 20 people. And if you liked this, if you had fun doing this, I'm actually going to be running a Biblio-Drama small group later in January. We'll have more details about that at the end of the service. But if this is something you want to explore and do in maybe a smaller group with a bit more to it, more time to spend with it, keep that in mind. All right, with that, please take a breath and join me in prayer. God, thank you for your living word. Thank you for this time and the space that we shared. Help us always remember the power of walking in someone else's shoes. I ask these things in your name. Amen.